What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we are doing my review of PeaceMaker Season 2, Episode 1. Saw it last night. Fantastic episode. Loved it to death. In usual fashion, I'm going to get into the things that I liked about it and the things that I didn't. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, starting with the things that I liked. I mean, this video is partially going to be the things that I liked. There's only very little things that I wasn't a big fan of. Yeah, this, to start off, we're going to start with the recap of the DCU, because if you've seen the episode, you know as soon as you start it, the first thing it says is previously on the DCU, which is obviously different, because technically the first season was in the DCEU. Obviously, that universe is no more, so he retconned a lot of things. Starting with the retcons, in the previously on, and it shows like flashbacks to the PeaceMaker Season 1, they completely, anytime the Justice League was mentioned, they replaced it with Justice Gang. The scene, you all know it at the end of the first season where the Justice League show up. They replaced Aquaman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Flash with Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Superman, Mr. Terrific, and Supergirl, surprisingly, which is crazy because PeaceMaker Season 1 was in 2022. So that would have meant that Superman and Supergirl had just arrived on the scene. Because it said 3 years ago, Superman had announced his identity to the world, that he is Superman, or whatever. And so that must have meant that happened right away, which is great. I love that. I love that they retcon that, and instead of, getting rid of that Justice League that we knew from the Snyder version, replace them with the Justice Gang. I thought that was great. Diving right back into it, though, in the actual season, man, it feels like we never left, we're right back, we jump right back into it. Peacemaker's definitely, you can tell he's that same guy, but he's also a little different. He's not as chaotic. He wants a professional superhero career life. He wants better for himself. He doesn't just want to be a fucking murdering criminal anymore. And again, he just wants better for himself, and that's what this first episode really focused on, is him wanting better for himself and kind of the emotion of how he's just not happy with how his life's going. And I thought that was actually a really good place to start. I thought that was, it hit kind of hard, it's kind of relatable. He's not happy with where he is, and he wants to do better. He's in love with Harcourt. That they make that very clear. Something after season 1 happened between them. I think it was just like a one night stand thing where they slept together or something. And, he talks to her, and, he wants something, but she clearly doesn't want the same thing. He wants to be with her. He's clearly very much so in love with her. He finds this alternate dimension where all these things that he wants, his brother's alive, his dad's alive, they're buddy-buddy. Him and Harcourt are actually together and stuff. He finds this alternate dimension, which is awesome. I like how, just that already I can see where this season's going. It's about, how he wants to kind of live this second life, that it's like his dream life. And I think along the way, he's going to have to realize that it's just not possible. But I love that it jumps right back into it with the gore and the sex and the nudity. I mean, this scene, the fucking orgy scene, I was literally screaming because of how chaotic it was. I was like, what the fuck? That's just James Gunn through and through. The new intro is fucking hilarious. Not quite as good as it was in season 1. But it was still cool. I like that they changed it. Yeah, I mean, just like, even like the fight scenes that we get in this, like the Harcourt at the bar at the end was fucking awesome. She's beating the shit out of a bunch of these dudes, and they're kicking the crap out of her. The gore and the effects are great as always. I love getting cameos again from the Justice Gang. Nate Fillion as the Green Lantern and Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl. Love seeing them along with Maxwell Lord. That interview scene is fucking hilarious. Obviously, the comedy's all right back. Getting to see Rick Flag again after I just had finished Creature Commandos literally 2-3 nights ago. I watched it all for the first time. So getting to learn more about Rick Flag and, his motivations this season. Obviously, he wants to find and hunt Peacemaker. That's awesome, right? So getting to see a little bit of him was cool. They're kind of setting up his arc and where he's going to be doing this season. John Economos, we see him as well. He's just kind of keeping tabs on Peacemaker for Flag or whatever. getting him to see a little bit of vigilante, him being a fucking idiot like he always is. It's hysterical. The part where he's calling John Economos about owls and stuff is hilarious. Again, like I said, the best part about this first episode is it just felt like we never left. We were thrown right back into that world, and we meet all the characters that we knew from the first season, and we're meeting them again. And Amanda Waller's daughter, I don't know why I'm forgetting her name. She's obviously back too. She's great. And it just feels like we're just thrown right into this James Gunn world. And it just, seeing this and watching Creature Commandos, and it just like, it's just so crazy how James is just able to do all these different styles of filmmaking, because Superman is such a different film compared to like the Guardians, the Suicide Squad. Like the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos are all very similar. It's that, you know, it's that really grindhouse, you know, just nothing but gore and cursing, and you know, it just this making this fucking team of losers come together and actually making us care about them. That stuff's very different from like Superman and the Guardians, right? And it's just he continues to blow my mind as to how diverse he is and how he can just really do anything, it seems. This guy just doesn't miss, and it's same's going for this first episode. He did not miss. This was a phenomenal start. Again, comedy, gore, cursing, it's all there, and it's just what makes Peacemaker Peacemaker. And I can just tell he's going to have much bigger and crazier stuff to come going forward. And I'm loving the DCU so far, man. And again, I just think this is another brilliant piece of the puzzle that's going in there. So, yeah, like I said, for the most part, everything is pretty much likes for this episode. But yeah, there was one or two little things that I was a bit on. So yeah, let's just get into those. All right, so there's only pretty much like two things that I kind of had a little bit of a problem with this episode, and they're not even really big things. I think my main issue was it felt kind of short, and I know it's a 45-minute episode, but I don't know. It's just the runtime. I just felt like it escaped us really quick. I felt like it just all went by super, super, super fast. Which it's not really something I felt in the first season, and they were pretty much the same time episodes, like 45 minutes. So I don't know if that was just a thing of watching it for the first time or what, but it just felt like it went by a little too fast. And I think my other big issue is I would have liked to have kind of just, you know, seen a little bit of the aftermath of what happened with the first season. You know, kind of just got to see how they were directly after the events of that. You know, I was kind of hoping it was going to pick up right after, but I understand and I see why it didn't. Maybe in the future we'll get some flashbacks to that period between season 1 and 2, but aside from that, man, everything else about this episode was fantastic. It was a great start. I can already tell this season is going to be fantastic. Maybe it might even end up being better than the first one. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this little review. If you did, make sure to drop a like. I also want to say, I have been watching the new season of Dexter. Once that season finishes, I am going to do a review on my channel. I would also like to do a ranking of every Dexter season at some point. It'll probably be, again, like right after the season ends in like 2 weeks. So we're almost there. So definitely expect some Dexter content. Tune in weekly for more Peacemaker episode reviews. I will be doing them each and every week. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.